Now, we're always looking at new thinking that aims to raise awareness over issues or products, and this one caught our eye. Well-known commentator, writer, analyst and race car enthusiast Greg Mills competed recently in a 24-hour event at the Paul Ricard circuit in France. And as you're about to see, it was all about speed, oil, rubber, racing and rhinos, as the South African team raised awareness about poaching through lending their name to this ongoing scourge.
It's a big challenge doing a 24-hour race. There's a huge amount of logistics involved just to get here, shipping the car, making sure the team all arrives more or less in the same place at the same time, making sure the car is fully prepared, raising some sponsorship to enable that to happen, and of course carrying the South African flag high. It's not just about the motorsport itself. We realize that we're ambassadors for the country at the same time, and we have to present ourselves well. And we are supporting an anti-poaching charity which gives it a very strong African link, which is something that Motorsport South Africa has endorsed. And we're trying to highlight, both in the livery of the car, the livery of the team members themselves and their faux leopard skin jackets with a big Stop Poaching sign on the back of them. We're trying to highlight this initiative to a European audience. It's so important in Africa that we do get the anti-poaching side right, because it's such a potentially huge revenue earner, among other aspects, for African economies.
And finally this week, empathy mapping is a concept that helps us consider how other people are thinking and feeling about goods, services and brands and their behaviour. We discussed that concept with Joshin Raghubar, founder and chairman of the agency eNCA.
The definition of empathy is an intellectual understanding of how someone feels and experiences and things. The second part of empathy is just really vicariously experiencing how they think and feel and act and behave. And by mapping that moment, that like you said, capture that essence in a bottle, over the sort of key moments of truth, so to speak, in the customer journey, we can start to design appropriately, build content appropriately, build product appropriately, so that we remove friction from the customer experience and we remove pain and we increase gain.
So critical to that then is, how do you go about gathering that information?
Part of it's a type of question. So I think when you start to do empathy mapping, you bring quite a few stakeholders into a room. You bring a lot of data points into a room. So there's ethnographic research to understand people's worldviews. Certainly you do your demographic research work. You do your customer kind of focus groups and segmentation to get that overlay. And then certainly if you can have actual behavioral data, certainly for e-commerce clients, they can actually look at the data of how someone behaves at every point. You actually bring all of that into the room to then answer the question of, at the person at the center, what are they doing at a particular time? How do you think they're feeling at a particular time? What are they seeing? So you bring all of those things. So part of it is what questions you ask, but the other piece is looking at all sorts of data. Someone's worldview might really influence how they're feeling about something.
On a particular day, though, I mean, surely this is a moving target the whole time.
On a particular day.
I might feel something about a product or a campaign or whatever the case is on a Tuesday, but there are a whole lot of variables in my life which might influence my decision later on. So how accurate is this?
It's very useful, but like all tools, it's got to be used in conjunctions with other pieces of information and other methodologies. So online, certainly, and if you talk about performance media and performance marketing, sometimes people say timing is more important than the actual message. So yes, people obviously change from day to day, but normally their behavior before can almost predict what they're going to be doing next.
There is an entrenched perception.
That's absolutely right.
Josh, this is starting to sound a bit like a psychology lecture, so just give me a sense of practically how this would work in the marketplace.
Out of our work we were doing with the Western Cape Tourism Department, the kind of stated objective was drive more foot traffic to the Cape Winelands. What a beautiful tourism product. One we need to exploit, one we need to grow. How do we do that? So we started to just do some human-centered kind of design thinking, and we started to look at, well, who visits the winelands? What are they thinking? What do they want? We had a number of focus groups. We tested to see how people were feeling in each of those ways. And then we built a prototype to test each of those customer journeys. We shot videos for each persona based on how we think they would experience a visit to the winelands and what we could build to service that. That resulted in an app which brings together all the information for the Cape Winelands in a very searchable, discoverable way. And secondly, it's built a tourism business, which has now become a business called Explore Sideways, that's actually created a private bookings and tourism experience. So we built a series of products and communication pieces to be able to do that, which has resulted in actually getting more people to the winelands, driving traffic to the winelands, driving usage, and driving traffic not just to the winelands, but to actually more of the wine farms.
So what then was the overarching experience?
You want to have the best experience you can have, but you certainly are coming to a new place. Certainly for a lot of Americans, Europeans, they're nervous. Designing for trust was one of our biggest elements. So we realized people were nervous in making a choice to who to spend money and who to go with. So we made sure there were references from the New York Times, and we got user profile references to remove any barriers around trust. The second piece was because people want to make the most of a limited time, a limited budget when traveling, we needed to give them something that seemed authentic and is authentic and is discerning and quite special. So we started to develop methodologies to curate and personalize experiences and make them realize that's a personalized experience.
Do you ever build the hypothesis and present it and then are completely surprised by what the answer is, which runs counter to what your original thinking was?
I
suppose that's why you're doing this.
That's why we do it. Yeah. So, and then the difference in the approach of a traditional consulting approach and a design thinking approach is in design thinking you learn by failing. So you're often wrong. But the idea is to iterate fast enough to get to the right answer, as opposed to a traditional consulting approach which says we must have the right answer first and then build it.
So I'm wondering if there's an ethical debate here. You're crawling into people's hearts, you're crawling into people's minds. Is there something to be said for that?
I mean, it's a very good question. When you talk about those disciplines like neuroscience, where they're like tapping into your head, I think there you probably have kind of pretty deeper questions to ask. In this space, I think we're just trying to understand the customer a little bit better, and we're doing it by observation, and we do it by getting people to have an hypothesis that we test for. And the idea is to create a better experience. In this particular methodology, it's not invasive. It tries to get into people's heads and in their hearts, but it doesn't do it by kind of disrupting their lives.
And that's our story for this week. More content can be found on our Facebook and on our Twitter pages. Goodbye to you, and thank you for watching.